What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Men of Means YouTube page. My name is Danny, and to start off our YouTube channel, we just want to give our testimonies. So here is mine. I grew up in North Carolina. Love North Carolina. Avid Carolina Panthers fans. So please continue to keep them in your prayers. But no, I grew up in North Carolina in a Christian household. I was raised to go to church and to love the Lord. When I got to college, and with anybody being out of the house and having kind of your own, your own schedule, and you're responsible for yourself, I really fell away from Christ. And it wasn't until I found a really great church home in Toledo, Worship Center, where Dr. Pat McKinstry is a pastor there. It's where I began to fall in love with Christ again. After I left undergrad, I went to live in Boston. And again, I fell back into the same, routine of not attending church. And not getting in my word. And the more I allowed that to be my routine, the more I realized that I wasn't feeling Christ in the same way. So fast forward to moving to Virginia to attend school in order to find my relationship with Christ, because it was a Christian school, and hoping that God would really move in a way that I thought in my future in pursuing law school, all of it. I really thought that everything was going to work out. But again, I fell back into my old ways once again. And it wasn't until the end of my first semester of law school that everything really fell apart. Everything that I thought was going to happen crashed very quickly, very, very quickly. But to God be the glory. I realized in a very, very dark season, in a season where I feel like I had no purpose, in a season where I feel like God had left me, God had abandoned me. How dare God? Why would he embarrass me or humiliate me like this in front of countless people in my family? I had to begin to think back about all the times that I denied him. And while I'm very thankful for grace, I think the dark season that I went through, it was necessary for me to find God. I could no longer look to God as as a genie, as a person who was just handing me out blessing after blessing. And God was so faithful to me, even though I continued to run. And so when I began to see him take things away, because God gives and he definitely takes away, I was upset. I was like, how could you? Where are my things? Where are my accomplishments? Where are my achievements? Because that's where I rested. A lot of my confidence was in that, because it was a season in my life where I could do things and it came easy, and people would promote me just because they liked my personality or whatever. And God was really showing me his grace and his mercy in a season where I had completely turned my back on him. And so I asked God to bring my heart back to him and bring my thoughts and everything, my life back to him. And he did, but just not in the way that I expected. Everything fell apart. And when my back was against the wall, all I could call on was God. All I could call on was God. And so my testimony is that there's nothing that we have done that will separate us from our love. There's nothing, we're not too deep. We're not too bad. We're not too terrible. We're not too far gone for God to pick us up and turn us around. And so, I just wanted to share that testimony that if you feel like that God is not, God has forgotten you, he hasn't. If you feel that God has perhaps taken some things away, begin to, reevaluate God. Sometimes he takes things, I realize he takes things away because he has something better. Sometimes he will destroy our plans before our plans destroy us. And so God is just that faithful, that even in our sin, he loved us. While we were yet sinners, he loved us. And so again, in my dark season, coming out, now being on the other side, again, to God be the glory, I realized that everything that happened to me, God used it. God will use the broken things. God will use the foolish things. God will choose those who we may not think could be chosen to really minister his gospel. And in my dark season, I found a brother in Christ, Freddie. And now we have a ministry, something that it was always in the back of my mind, but I never thought I was good enough to do it. But God pulled me out of a dark season to allow me to find him, to find everything that I need in him, my confidence, everything. I found it in him. And so I encourage all of you all today, that is my testimony. In a dark season, even if you're not in a dark season, find God. He's always right there. I love y'all. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for watching our video. We really do appreciate it. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe.
Mash that button.
Mash it.
Mash it.
Also, if you have any comments, concerns, or prayer request, leave it down in the comments below, and we'll do our best to get back to you. Guys, we love you, and we appreciate your support, and we will talk to you all soon.